What is going on, my North County fam? I'm your girl Kelly, here to give you the rundown on what happened in St. Louis County government this week, and I'm gonna get right into it with some highlights. So the first highlight, y'all, woo child. So last week I mentioned this controversy around the former St. Louis County auditor, and apparently this tea, this hot auditor tea spilled by Councilman Harder, it burned, right? It burned him, apparently. Because by him spilling that tea, apparently he's in violation of Missouri Sunshine Law, as well as St. Louis County, some of their ordinances. So there was a communication from Councilwomen Clancy and Dunaway that was added to the agenda for this past Tuesday's county council meeting. And so in their communication, they mentioned, and I quote, Councilman Harder revealed closed session testimony given by a county employee, further stating that Harder did not ask that employee for permission to divulge confidential, legally protected information, nor discuss with them his intention to reveal their confidence in advance. Councilwoman Clancy and Dunaway, they also expressed like, Harder, you was also big capping in the statement that you made, and you prepared a written statement, and you was capping throughout that mug. So they mentioned that. They also expressed the need for harassment training for county council members as well as the staff. And they also requested that Councilman Harder set the record straight during the county council meeting and apologize to that employee. So did he really clear the air? I'm not really sure, because towards the end of the meeting, when they were doing their announcements, the council members were doing their announcements, for whatever reason the feed is just cut off. So I don't know if he mentioned anything about it, but I can say that as a result of this, with regards to violations against St. Louis County law and things of that nature, Councilman Fitch requested the preparation of legislation that replaces the existing county ordinance related to closed meetings so that it aligns with the existing Sunshine Law, stating that meetings are authorized to be closed instead of requiring them to be closed. Also, the bill should include language that opens information disclosed in a closed meeting after the meeting occurs, or if there is a, quote, compelling public interest for releasing that information, unquote. So, yeah, y'all. I'm sure there's more to come with regards to that situation. The second thing I really wanted to mention was regarding some legislation that was up for perfection regarding electric vehicle charging stations in St. Louis County. So there's a bill sponsored by Councilwoman Dunaway requiring installation of electric vehicle charging stations at businesses in St. Louis County. Councilwoman Dunaway expressed, taking a step forward, with this legislation, hopefully passing this legislation to offset all of the things happening as a result of climate change. And, I was thinking okay, this seems like pretty straightforward. It should be perfected. Psych. Apparently, Councilman Fitch, Tracus, and Harder, the fellas, they had a lot of issues with this legislation. So, one, there was mention of their issues with Ameren's lobbying for this legislation. So they had, some concerns with that. And also the biggest thing they were saying was, look, the county, this ain't our job. This ain't our role in telling these businesses what they should and should not do. That ain't on us, and to let the free market determine if businesses decide to include electric vehicle charging stations, on their premises. So when the vote occurred for the bill to be perfected, Councilwomen Dunaway, Webb, Days, and Clancy voted yes, and Councilman Hitch, Tracus, and Harder, unsurprisingly, voted no. There are more yeses than no's, so the bill, it was perfected, and I'm assuming it'll be up for final passage next week at the county council meeting. And then the last thing, as far as the highlights are concerned, I really wanted to lift up, which my mind is still spinning from yesterday. But apparently, there's this controversy around the procurement process regarding the Securus Technologies Incorporated contract to provide telephone, video visitation, and law library services for the Department of Justice Services in St. Louis County. So last night there was the County Council's Revenue and Personnel Committee meeting where this was discussed. And so this was like a 3-hour meeting, y'all. And so I was just trying to get caught up on what the hell was going on. Yeah. So what's the issue, right? What's the beef? So apparently there were 5 companies or vendors that were being considered for this contract to be utilized by the Justice Services Department. So 5 companies and vendors that were being considered total, right? However, and there was also mention that there were 4 different rounds of, putting out there the process with RFPs or requests for proposals. There were 4 different rounds that had occurred. And what was expressed was that basically at each one, the committee that, really ranked, I guess, the proposals as far as a yeah or no, really ranked Securus Technologies as a yeah instead of a no. So I guess they really rocked with them or whatever. And so maybe it was because they ranked so favorably, so consistently or whatever. I don't know. Maybe folks felt more inclined to execute that contract with Securus Technologies. Again, I don't know. I'm just kind of going off of connecting some dots there. So former acting director of procurement, Jennifer Keating, she admitted though, she said, there were some inconsistencies and some wrong done when folks, on their side followed up with these vendors in the running. So they followed with all these vendors, but there wasn't the same types of information communicated with regards to the requirements and qualifications, blase, blase. So she said, yeah, Securus, in so many ways, Securus Technologies, they were given a little bit more, I don't know, information, insight, I don't really know, compared to the other folks that were in the running for this contract with St. Louis County and the Justice Department or what have you. So essentially, Securus were awarded the contract, but the company that the county had previously used for the same services, Inmate Calling Solutions, I believe that's what they were called. They were like, y'all, pause, hold up. This is some bull-ish. This ain't right. Because we know that what we put in as far as a bid and pricing, that it was lower than Securus. And also, it's just some shadiness, some shakiness, some inconsistencies going on. And this ain't right. So, and also it was uncovered that there was a lobbyist for Securus Technologies. I guess this gentleman worked there for a brief stint. And then somehow he ends up working as County Executive Sam Page's chief of staff. So with all of this confusion, inconsistencies, questions going on, the county council, they deaded the contract with Securus because, again, of all of that stuff going on. And this happened in February, March of 2020. But somehow Securus still ended up getting the contract like a year or so later, according to council members going around them to do so, like the process. So, again, still a lot of questions not answered. Like I mentioned, it was 3 hours long. The meeting was 3 hours long. Folks from procurement in St. Louis County, as well as the Department of Justice Services, were present, in addition to a representative from Securus Technologies. And what's to come of this, I really don't know, because the feed, it cut off as the meeting was concluding. So I'm sure there'll be more to come with that situation. And then the last thing I wanted to do is round it out with my favorite part of this, which is the legislative corner. There were 3 bills I wanted to lift up that were passed during Tuesday night's county council meeting. So 2 of those bills approve the acceptance of grant coin. So one accepted up to $25,000 in grant coin to support the role of the local equal opportunity officer in the Department of Human Services. This role, which is an existing position, is responsible for oversight of local workforce development programs and ensuring compliance with equal opportunity laws and regulations. And then the second bill that was approved accepts up to $17,250 in grant coin to support the violent death and opioid death surveillance program. And then the third bill that was passed Tuesday night will appropriate funding basically to the right account in St. Louis County in their funding situation jazz, totaling $72,000 to pay for an intelligence analyst and $341,000 to pay for 5 marked patrol vehicles related to the bi-state development contract renewal. So that's all I have for y'all this week. Please stay safe out there, stay well, and you'll see me soon. Peace.